Hello everyone. Welcome to Silent Reflections, a channel dedicated to sharing knowledge and personal growth through great books. In today's video, I'd like to introduce you to a person whose name alone evokes thoughts of genius, greatness, and a mind ahead of its time. Leonardo da Vinci. We often know him through his famous painting, Mona Lisa, the mysterious smile that captivates the world. But Leonardo was not just a painter. He was an inventor, engineer, architect, anatomist, naturalist, philosopher, and much more. At the age of 30, he wrote a job application letter to the Duke of Milan. And perhaps it is the most impressive job application letter in human history. It was not just a simple job application, but rather a declaration of his abilities, ambitions, and a deep belief in himself. In the letter, instead of mentioning painting, Leonardo began by describing his ability to design movable bridges that were lightweight, yet sturdy, indestructible in war. He outlined military machines capable of destroying fortresses, draining moats, and creating cannons that could fire a rain of bullets, causing panic among enemies. He even described how to dig tunnels across rivers without making a sound, create armored chariots that could not be penetrated, equipped with weapons to break enemy lines. And finally, he mentioned, "I can also sculpt and paint just as well as anyone." This letter helped him secure the job, because not only was he talented, but he dared to present a mindset that was ahead of its time. Usually, a person who excels in one field is called a genius, like Mozart in music or Einstein in physics. But Leonardo was a polymath. Over 500 years ago, with no internet or Google, he still managed to study a wide range of fields, from machinery, anatomy, astronomy, physics and biology, to painting, music, architecture, and urban planning. It seemed there was no area Leonardo didn't touch. Some joked that he was an alien or a time traveler, but in reality, Leonardo was just an ordinary human with strengths and weaknesses. He was an illegitimate child, not formally educated, a vegetarian, left-handed, passionate about beauty, lived generously, and also prone to procrastination, easily distracted, and not very good at math. So, what made him such a great genius? The answer is, Leonardo was a master of learning. He learned through all his senses, observed constantly, asked questions, and sought answers. Learning wasn't a duty. It was an instinct, a passion. He learned to understand and to create. We, ordinary people living in an age of rapid technological development, can we apply Leonardo's learning mindset to develop ourselves, to unlock our creative potential? The answer is yes. Leonardo's life is a testament to the infinite potential of humanity. If we nurture curiosity, actively learn, and ask questions, we can achieve extraordinary things, not to become a new Leonardo, but to become the best version of ourselves. If you've never read his biography, I suggest you give it a try, especially the book by Walter Isaacson. Or more simply, continue watching this video, because in the next part, I'll share how Leonardo learned, so we can learn how to learn like a genius. First principle, curiosity, and the courage to question everything. Do you know just how curious Leonardo da Vinci was? We can get a sense of it by looking at the more than 7,200 pages of notebooks he left behind. And what's even more astonishing is that this number accounts for only 1/4 of everything he ever wrote. That alone shows how his mind was constantly on fire with endless questions about the world around him. In those notebooks, Leonardo didn't just jot things down, he questioned everything, from nature and the cosmos to the human body. Some of his questions were so profound they make you stop and think. Others might sound silly at first glance, but all of them sprang from the same flame, pure, unfiltered curiosity, free from any agenda. Just listen to some of the questions Leonardo asked. I bet at least one of these will make you go, wow. Why is the sky blue? Why don't fish blink? How are birds able to fly? Why do fish swim faster than birds fly, even though water is heavier and denser than air? What makes the moon shine? How are valleys formed, and how do rivers cut through mountains? Why do rocks form in layers? And why are marine fossils found on mountaintops? He even left a note reminding himself to observe a woodpecker's tongue. Leonardo was curious simply because he wanted to understand. And that curiosity led him to discoveries far ahead of his time. In one of his notebooks, he wrote, "I have wandered through the countryside seeking answers to things I did not understand. Why are there seashells and coral, creatures that live in the sea, found at the tops of mountains? Why does thunder last longer than lightning? And why do we see the lightning immediately, yet have to wait to hear the thunder?" In another entry, Leonardo recalled a trip near Florence. He stumbled upon a pitch-black cave, and as he stood at its mouth, he wrote, "I didn't know whether I should enter. Two emotions pulled at me, fear of the darkness and the unknown, and a burning desire to discover what wonders lay hidden inside. In the end, desire won." Leonardo stepped into the cave, and there he discovered the fossilized skeleton of a whale embedded in the rock. When it came to the human body, his questions were just as relentless. What causes both eyes to move in sync? Why do we frown, fall in love, sneeze, feel hunger and thirst? What makes the heart beat? How does the aorta close? But Leonardo didn't just ask. He observed, dissected, modeled, and drew with painstaking detail. He studied calf placentas, crocodile jaws, and the development of the human fetus, things most of us have never even thought to wonder about. Leonardo held on to the wide-eyed curiosity of a child his entire life, and that's exactly what made him such a great learner. He didn't learn just to know. He learned to understand, to connect, to create. As Einstein once said, "I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious." And Leonardo is perhaps the most vivid embodiment of that truth. So, if you want to sharpen your thinking, boost your creativity, or explore something new, start with something simple. Ask a question. No matter how odd or silly it may seem, if it sparks even a flicker of curiosity in you, you've already begun your own journey. And who knows, like Leonardo, you just might uncover a treasure hidden in the little things no one else bothers to notice. Principle 2. Don't just ask questions. Seek the answers. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just curious for curiosity's sake. He didn't let questions sit quietly on a page. To him, every unanswered question was an invitation, a call to embark on a journey of discovery, one marked by persistence, not procrastination. No excuses. In an era when most unknowns were simply attributed to the will of God, Leonardo refused to settle for vague explanations. He believed that behind every phenomenon, there was a rule, a cause, and that humans could uncover these truths through observation, reasoning, and verification. Curiosity alone wasn't enough. Leonardo took action. He devoured books, ran experiments, sketched diagrams, took notes, formed hypotheses, and tested them against reality. He even invented his own tools just to answer questions others might have dismissed as pointless. His first method, observation. Leonardo possessed eyes as sharp as a microscope and a mind as methodical as a laboratory. He trained himself to see what others overlooked, the way light danced on water, how flames shifted in color, or how muscles contracted beneath the skin when someone smiled. This wasn't natural talent. It was the result of relentless practice. Once, he spent time walking around the moat of a castle just to observe dragonflies, and he discovered that they fly using all four wings. When the front wings go up, the back wings go down. A tiny detail, yes, but to Leonardo, it was a crucial piece of a much larger puzzle. While strolling through the city, he quietly studied the expressions of people passing by, connecting facial movements to emotions and carefully documenting his observations in his notebook. Like a psychologist centuries ahead of his time, he also studied light, how it changes depending on whether it touches stone, human skin, or metal. These insights would later help him create the luminous, lifelike lighting effects in his paintings. What's even more impressive, Leonardo developed observational techniques that still astonish modern science today. Here are 5 of Leonardo da Vinci's signature methods, the secrets to seeing what others miss. Technique 1. Observe for a long time, then draw conclusions. For example, when Leonardo wanted to understand the movement of water, he didn't turn to books or ask the clergy. He simply sat for hours, watching the flow of a stream. The result? He filled 8 pages with 730 detailed notes on water. He even came up with 67 different terms to describe various types of currents. What might seem like tedious observations became the foundation for both his hyper-realistic paintings and mechanical ideas that were centuries ahead of their time. Technique 2. Observe from 3 different angles. This is especially evident in his studies of the human body. Leonardo never sketched anything from a single perspective. For every body part, he would rotate it, viewing it from above, below, and both sides. He once wrote, "My description of the human body will be as clear as if you were looking at a real person, because I have observed each part from 3 different angles." And it's true. His anatomical illustrations remain astonishing to this day. Technique 3. Observe at different times. Leonardo never looked at something once and assumed he understood it. He believed that to truly grasp anything, you needed to observe it at different times of day, in different emotional states, and even from different distances. That's when details you once missed would finally become visible. He wrote, "It is also good to go away and take a little rest, because when you come back to your work, your judgment will be sharper. Continuous labor often blunts our perception." But he didn't stop there. Leonardo shared a clever little trick he often used. When painting, he would hold up a flat mirror and look at his work in reverse. This made the image appear as if someone else had painted it, allowing him to spot flaws or awkwardness that his eyes had gotten used to. It was a way to evaluate his art more objectively. And one more tip. He advised stepping back and observing from a distance. That's when the whole composition becomes clearer. You're more likely to notice imbalances in proportion or color harmony that get lost when you're too close. A simple but powerful method for seeing the big picture. Technique 4. Observe both stillness and motion. Leonardo didn't just study objects in a static state. He paid close attention to how they moved. And he didn't limit himself to individual objects. He observed the relationships between them as well. Take, for example, his study of birds in flight. Leonardo didn't just sketch a bird with its wings spread and then imagine the rest. Instead, he went to the market, bought birds in cages, not to keep, but to release, and carefully watch how they soared into the sky. From this, he noticed details that most people had never considered. Some birds, like doves, land more quickly when lifting their wings. Others, like crows, lift their wings faster while descending. For Leonardo, answers came from action and movement. He summarized his findings in a remarkably insightful statement. Birds with short tails often have broad wings. These wide wings take over the role of the tail, and when turning, they rely heavily on the shoulder joints. As they prepare to land, if the bird's head is lower than the tail, it lowers and spreads the tail, and combines this with short wing beats to control speed and land smoothly. Technique 5. Don't just look, strive to understand. Leonardo wasn't satisfied with merely seeing things. He wanted to understand them deeply. Whenever a phenomenon caught his attention, he didn't stop at saying, "Oh, that looks interesting." He went further. Why does it happen? How does it work? For example, he didn't just observe birds flying. He studied how they created lift. He wrote, "I must determine the motion of the wind and then describe how birds steer their bodies by adjusting only their wings and tails." And he went even further. To understand air, he studied water, because he believed that the flow of water and air shared similar dynamics. This led him to a revolutionary discovery. If air could not be compressed, birds would not be able to lift themselves. A strong wing beat pushes air downward, creating high pressure beneath the wings, enough to lift the bird into the air. This insight led him to reject a long-standing belief from Aristotle, who claimed that birds stayed aloft because air supported them, like ships floating on water. Leonardo pointed out a crucial fact. Birds are heavier than air. To stay in the sky, they must generate lift, not just drift through the air by luck. 2 centuries later, Isaac Newton published his third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Leonardo had already grasped the essence of modern science, purely through observation. And finally, Leonardo left us with a golden piece of advice for anyone who wants to learn to see the world more deeply. Observe carefully. Break things down piece by piece. If you want to understand an object, begin with its smallest parts. And don't move on to the next part until you've engraved the first one into your memory. He even invented a little game to train the eye. One person would draw a straight line on a wall, and others, standing at a distance, would try to guess its length using pieces of straw. The one with the most accurate guess would win. The second method, through books and learning from experts. In 1490, at the age of 38, a time when most people are content with what they already know, Leonardo da Vinci began teaching himself Latin, simply so he could read the academic texts of his time. By 1504, he had compiled a personal library of over 100 books, spanning subjects as varied as military engineering, agriculture, music, surgery, science, health, poetry, architecture, fine art, mathematics, and religion. This book list wasn't just a treasure trove of knowledge. It was a mirror reflecting Leonardo's boundless curiosity and his astonishingly diverse interests. But Leonardo didn't stop there. In his notebooks, he frequently jotted down the titles of books he was searching for or hoping to borrow. For example, he once wrote, "Messer Stefano Caponi, the physician in Piscina, has a book by Euclid. Vespucci will lend me a book on geometry. A book about the architecture of Milan and its churches, soon to arrive at the bookstore on the road to Corduso. I must try to obtain the book by Vitellone, which is currently at the library in Pavia, and pursue the study of mathematics." Leonardo's quest for knowledge didn't stop with books. He was equally obsessed with digging into the minds of others. He constantly questioned his friends, acquaintances, and anyone he thought might hold a missing piece to one of his puzzles. Some of his notes include, "Ask Benedetto Portinari how the Flemish walk on ice. Ask Messer Antonio how plaster is applied to fortresses during the day and at night. Find a hydraulics expert and ask about repairing clocks, canals, and mills in the Lombard style. Ask Messer Giovannino how the towers in Ferrara are built without ventilation shafts." The third method, merging theory with practice. Leonardo lived at a time when humanity had just invented the printing press, a revolutionary breakthrough that allowed knowledge to spread more widely than ever before. Thanks to this, he gained access to a vast treasure trove of knowledge passed down by earlier thinkers. However, what set Leonardo apart, and even placed him far ahead of his time, was this: he did not blindly trust or repeat what he read in books. While many scholars of his era were obsessed with quoting the eternal truths of ancient texts, Leonardo constantly asked himself, "Can this be proven through experimentation?" If the answer was yes, he didn't hesitate to test it himself, repeating the experiment under various conditions to see if the results held consistent. And if reality contradicted a theory, he wouldn't think twice about discarding it. For Leonardo, experience and direct observation were the highest standards for evaluating knowledge. He once posed a question that was as simple as it was profound. Why is the sky blue? He developed several hypotheses and eventually recorded in his notebook a remarkably accurate explanation, one that closely aligns with modern science. "I believe the blue we see in the sky is not its true color, but the result of tiny particles of water vapor, invisible to the naked eye, floating in warm, humid air. When sunlight hits them, they capture the light and reflect it against the backdrop of the dark sky, creating that blue hue." And he didn't stop at writing. He experimented. Leonardo described one test like this: paint a board with various colors, including a patch of beautiful black. Then cover the entire board with a thin, transparent layer of white paint. You will see, where the white layer covers the black area, a wonderful sky blue color appears. Another experiment involved smoke. Burn a dry piece of wood so the smoke rises slowly. Place the smoke between the sunlight and a velvet cloth shaded behind it. You'll see the smoke, suspended between light and shadow, take on a beautiful sky blue color. Yet, despite his love for hands-on work, Leonardo was openly critical of those who experimented without understanding theory. Those who are addicted to practice without knowledge of theory are like sailors who board a ship without a rudder or compass, and they never know where they are going. For Leonardo, theory and practice must always go hand in hand. Principle 3, never stop learning and improving. Leonardo wasn't just a genius. He was a living embodiment of lifelong learning. He was famously known for rarely finishing his works. Many of his greatest ideas and even some of his masterpieces were left forever unfinished. At first glance, This might seem like a lack of patience or decisiveness, but in reality, it was quite the opposite. Leonardo was always refining because he never stopped learning. To him, completing a piece of work was never the final goal. What mattered more was that each time he returned to it, he brought with him new knowledge, new techniques, and a deeper understanding. For Leonardo, a work in progress was far more valuable than something finished and framed. Curiosity was the driving force behind his constant learning. Every time he discovered something new, he was eager to apply it, even to old projects. His notebooks are filled with margined sketches and scribbled ideas, updates sparked by years of reflection and research. He spent over 30 years revising his painting St. Jerome in the wilderness, all because, after studying human anatomy, he realized the way he had drawn the neck muscles wasn't quite accurate. And as for the Mona Lisa, that immortal icon, Leonardo began painting her in 1503. Yet even by the final years of his life, around 1517, he was still adding delicate layers of translucent light, refining tiny details. Incredibly, he never considered the painting truly finished. Had he lived another 10 years, he likely would have picked up his brush again, quietly enhancing Lisa once more, and then again. He believed not everything made by human hands needs to be finished, because if something can still be improved, it has never truly been complete. Principle 4. Embrace ambiguity, paradox, and uncertainty. Are you comfortable standing in front of questions that have no answers? How do you respond when faced with uncertainty, anxious, or excited by unexplored possibilities? For Leonardo da Vinci, ambiguity was fertile ground for creativity. He wasn't just someone who constantly asked questions. He was also brave enough to live with those questions, even when no answers existed. The more he learned, the more he realized that the world was too vast to be fully understood, and he accepted this with an open mind. Leonardo came up with ideas that were far ahead of his time, such as an ideal city or a human-powered flying machine. But not all of his ideas had the chance to come to life. Some remained only on paper. Yet it was his willingness to engage with the unknown, to live with ambiguity, and to embrace paradox that opened up a boundless creative realm. He understood clearly that ambiguity is not something to avoid, but something to nurture. He even turned this way of thinking into an artistic technique, sfumato, a method of softening hard lines, blending light and shadow like mist, creating depth and emotion that no sharp stroke could match. Sfumato was what gave the Mona Lisa her endless allure. You look at her, and you're never quite sure, is she smiling or is she sad? Her gaze seems to speak, but it doesn't say anything clear. Her emotions seem to reveal something, but then pull back. Who is she? What is she feeling? Some scholars have even debated whether she is a real woman at all. For Leonardo, that very mystery was the true art. Because the more ambiguous something is, the more we want to understand it. And imagination, like wind, always needs empty spaces to fly higher. Principle 5. Interdisciplinary thinking, connecting everything together. Leonardo da Vinci didn't see knowledge as fragmented pieces. For him, every field could be connected, from art and science to engineering. He believed that art is a branch of science, and science is also art. The pinnacle of this thinking is the Mona Lisa painting, where he blended dozens of fields as follows: optics. He used a white lead underpainting to enhance light reflection, creating depth in the painting. Light and shadow. He painted at sunset, when soft light highlighted the gentle softness of her face. Anatomy. He dissected the human body to understand the structure of facial muscles, and from this, created the legendary smile that seems both present and elusive, like mist. Psychology and neuroscience. He studied expression, emotion, and how the brain controls the face. Social observation. He spent hours observing real people to capture natural expressions, then distilled them into brushstrokes. He believed that human emotions were always ambiguous, never fully predictable from the face alone. And it's this ambiguity that creates the true depth of art. Leonardo da Vinci achieved many accomplishments in his 67 years of life thanks to his mastery of the art of learning. To gain a deeper understanding of him, the book Leonardo da Vinci by Walter Isaacson is an invaluable resource. Not only does it outline human potential, but it also emphasizes the vital role of curiosity in life. Leonardo was a genius, but not because he was born that way. It was his relentless curiosity that drove him to learn, explore, and master knowledge, making him great. This spirit can be awakened in each of us. But remember, don't just stop at asking questions. Take action to seek the answers. Like Leonardo, always be curious, but also never stop searching and verifying. Knowledge doesn't always have to be immediately useful. Sometimes, discovering just for the joy of learning is enough. Train your ability to observe even the smallest details. Ask why things work the way they do. Learn from books, from people, and from experience. Then experiment to compare theory with reality. Through continuous learning, we can always be better than we were yesterday. Curiosity also means embracing uncertainty, knowing that we don't know everything, and being willing to live with the unsolved. The more we know, the greater our curiosity becomes. And from there, ideas connect into a network of interdisciplinary knowledge. Leonardo always carried a notebook to jot down spontaneous ideas, observations, questions, and reflections. And that is a habit you can start today. Carry a notebook, a pen, and let curiosity guide you. And that's the content of today's video. If you found it useful, share it with your family, friends, and those who might need it. Give me a like so the video can reach even more people. Don't forget to follow and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss my next video. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.